Good evening from Hawaii. Aloha from here. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz, and I'm joining you from World Tourism Network. With us, we have eTober News. We have readers on eTober News. We have our social media, Hawaii News Online, Hindustan Times, and many others who are watching us now live. Welcome on board. If you are watching us on social media or anywhere else, and you still wanted to join this event or maybe our morning event Eastern time in the US, you can simply go to WTN.travel, click on the red banner, what takes you to WTN.travel/1 year, and you will be able to be part of our small live audience we have. I wanted to welcome everybody because we're coming together here with World Tourism Network since it has been 1 year since we started our rebuilding.travel discussion. We have many very important guests on this event here, and we have many familiar faces here as well, and we're going to go through this. As always, we're very easy. It's not completely structured, so we're flexible with what we're doing at this event. Ideally, we want everyone to be able to say something, introduce yourself, who wanted to say something, but we're also meeting some new faces, and we're very excited. We're expecting the Honorable Minister of Tourism, His Excellency Sandiaga Uno from the Republic of Indonesia, joining us in about 40 minutes. And we have high-level delegations from other countries, from Malaysia, Seychelles, and so forth, and we get through this. Now, for those that are not a member of the who are not a member of the World Tourism Network, World Tourism Network actually started with a discussion on March 5th in Berlin, Germany. And this was planned when Corona just became an issue about 2 weeks before the ITB trade show was supposed to start. So we teamed up at that time with the Pacific Asia Travel Association, PATA, and with the African Tourism Board, and organized an event at the Grand Hyatt Hotel in Berlin for March 5th. Little did we know that ITB would be canceled by then, and little did we know where we stand a year later with this coronavirus. It was just starting, and we really thought, okay, it's going to be the flu, and in a month from now, we won't be talking about it, and everyone was very upset that ITB was canceled. So that's when we started. It was probably the first discussion in the world. It did take place, even though without PATA and with only one member from the African Tourism Board. But those that were in Berlin, we had a good time, and we met at the Grand Hyatt Hotel. And I have one of the person who was at the very first meeting is with us. This is Dov Kalaman. I will give him the microphone a little bit later, from Israel, so he can say a few words about this. Now, 1 year, or I would say 11 months into this discussion, we were able to gain members from 127 countries. What was really unexpected. We didn't think, there would be such a feedback, but Corona didn't get better, it became worse, and more people were joining our group. So currently we have roughly about 1,500 members and about 700 observers in still 127 countries. And this is a good, influential group, both of representatives from government, but even more important, also from the private sector. We always really saw ourselves a group that mainly reaches out to the medium and small sized businesses and bring government and medium and small sized businesses together. The way we have structured this now was in December, that out of rebuilding.travel, the World Tourism Network was started. And this is the organization behind it. And we're now in the process of forming interest groups. Some of the interest groups have been very active and they are formed. And we had meetings. Others, they're still in development. And if you go to WTN.travel and click on interest groups, you will see who this is and who's behind it. This is just a rough overview over where we're heading with WTN. We're hoping this organization will grow. We're hoping Corona goes away. and WTN will still be here, because I think there is a need for people like us who see the industry, from the industry perspective, and who are not full-time employers of an organization, to help others that are working so hard to get out of this situation. Tomorrow morning, we'll be welcoming also the World Travel and Tourism Council, WTTC, joining us, and hear from them where it stands, because WTTC deals with all the big companies in the world. Now, since we're waiting for the minister, I wanted to say a special thank you to a gentleman who has, and we're going to get to Dov. We're going to get to you a little bit later, if that's okay, Dov. But I wanted to point out two gentlemen, actually, who have been a part of this organization and helped from the very beginning. Probably the person or the organization that inspired us to start WTN is the African Tourism Board. And we welcome Cuthbert Nikubi. He is the chairman of the African Tourism Board. He's joining us early this morning from Pretoria. And the rebuilding.travel idea really came later on also out of the Project Hope initiative, what was started by the African Tourism Board. So see us almost like an extended arm of Africa reaching out to the world in a discussion where everyone should be involved in. Welcome, Cuthbert, if you wanted to say a few words. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Jürgen. I really appreciate it, all my colleagues, all the way from South Africa. But I'm in Namibia now. Since I've been afforded a second chance of great life, I need to make the best out of it. So it's time for me to moving up and down. It is really an honor and a privilege to be part of this engagement as we navigate mechanisms on restructuring our and rebound and activation of our sector. Is surely we need to be set for a restart in our sector. I believe that we have actually glorified the pandemic, that it has overshadowed the beauty and what is waiting for us at the horizon. So it's high time for us to really look within, as I believe tourism is one of the backbones of our economies that contributes so much in our gross domestic product. So therefore, we cannot afford to be in an enclosure for so long. So thank you so much, Jürgen, for your unfailing endeavors to set the pace and your contributions towards the global space of tourism. As African Tourism Board, we are surely looking forward, as the minister will be joining us from Singapore. We have so much to pollinate among us, ourselves, and among us, each other. And of course, Malaysia, I've been there some time ago. We have so much to contribute. I know they've done quite a lot of good inroads, especially within the medical tourism and tourism at large. So we're looking forward as African Tourism Board to synergize our efforts together, to synergize our endeavors, as surely we are looking forward. I'm glad that in South Africa we've activated our air traffic. So that's really, a good story to tell, that let's go back to the drawing board, let's activate, and let's not the pandemic overshadow our enthusiasm, but let us look for great things that are waiting for all of us as a global family. Thank you so much. I really appreciate Dr. Taleb. To see you in action, it's quite a pleasure. We're looking forward to be working so much closely as we put our efforts together. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you again.
Yeah, thank you so much. And you mentioned Dr. Taleb Rifai, who of course has also been here from the very beginning, and without his wisdom, we probably wouldn't be where we are. Taleb should be joining us a little bit later. Today, he's also joining the second event. He had another commitment in the morning. but hopefully we hear from him later. And after the Honorable Minister arrives from Indonesia, we will just interrupt and go to Indonesia. Then we're going to hear from Malaysia after this, what is on the plan. But in the meantime, I wanted to say also a very special welcome and recognition to a man who was a minister of a very small island state, a state with only less than 100,000 people in the Indian Ocean. And this gentleman is really a global player when it comes to travel and tourism. When he was a minister, he was all over the world. After he was no longer a minister, he's still all over the world. And it's really someone who knows the global travel space and global travel industry. We're very happy to have Alain Saint-Ange with us here. Welcome, Alain.
Good morning, Jürgen. Good morning, everybody, or good evening to those in the other part of the world. I think it is always a pleasure to see the tourism fraternity gather together. It is always a pleasure because as we are getting towards the end of this COVID-19 difficulty, it is important that the world of tourism rallies together. When I saw Vijay in the lineup this morning, and I wanted to tell him that soon, when I come through one of my first travels post-COVID, we've all been seated at home doing virtual talks. One of my first trips, I will stop in Singapore on the way to another country in your part of the world. But it is important today that the world doesn't look at the past and say, we're going to redo what we did before. It'll be useless. Every conference that we've assisted has shown clearly that we have to find a new dimension to tourism if we really want it to work. We know, and when we're waiting for the Minister of Indonesia, it is quite clear that when these countries pop up today, looking at how best to reposition themselves, we have to look at our key USPs. Every country has them. How do we put it forward? How do we increase visibility? How do we keep being relevant? Will be the challenge that we all have as destinations. Seychelles is in one way lucky that, and I applaud the CEO of the tourism board, Shirin Francis, who's here. We are lucky that we think tourism, we breathe tourism, we eat tourism because it is the pillar of our economy. It collapsed since COVID. It collapsed because we are so dependent on tourism, the economy suffered immediately. But probably now that government has announced the reopening, and Shirin is better placed to talk about it, reopening of tourism on the 28th of March, we will see that as we collapse fast, we will also rebound very fast because we need tourism to work. But what Seychelles does, every part of the world can do. Every single country of the African continent, the 54 states, can do the same thing. The whole of the Asia bloc or the South American bloc or Europe itself. We know we need to revive this industry to keep the air links moving. When the air links move, we then have transport to be able to do trade together. So how we position that is what we will hopefully discuss today and move it forward. Today is an anniversary day. We say congratulations that we, a year ago, looked forward to repositioning tourism. And it is good that we are alive, kicking, and survived the pandemic. And apart from Cuthbert, who really caught it in a very bad way. But the rest of us managed to survive it by being at home and working from home. Let us enjoy this anniversary discussion today. And as we wait for the minister from Indonesia, let us look at our key USPs. Let us put them forward and find new ways how we're going to tell the world that we have key USPs. Thank you very much, everybody.
And thank you, Alain. And we're definitely going to go to Shirin also. Vijay is waiting. But let's first go to some of the players who have also played an important role and may not have a presentation. And there is, of course, Dov. Dov plays a very special role in this discussion because he was present in Berlin when we had our very first event, and he was stranded in Berlin because he couldn't return back to Israel. And Dov actually just got back from the United Arab Emirates. And welcome, Dov.
Welcome. Good morning. Good morning from Tel Aviv.
How's it? Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, thanks to all of you. Thanks. It's a bit difficult, after these passionate and inspirational words by these two leaders, Cuthbert and Alan, to say anything that compares to it. But I this morning I started with a radio interview that I heard, or TV program that I heard that I missed a couple of days before, and it was about a guy that a very famous Israeli TV guy whose main industry and passion is words. And he got a stroke 7 years ago, and everyone in Israel, accepted the sad fact that this guy is not on radio anymore, not on TV anymore with his inspirations. And yesterday or a few days ago, he had this TV program, and he spoke about his struggle to get over this huge stroke. And I thought about what we are doing today. Actually, we are, all of us, in the middle, hopefully at the end, but we are still at the heart of our stroke of our industry, of our passion. And it's actually like this guy that I saw this morning. It's actually up to all of us, and up to all of our forces, our energy, our inspiration, our passion, our friends around us, to get over this. And what happened a year ago, Jürgen, when we met, the event, basically empty event, it was you and me and our friends around us. But for some reason, we knew at that time that whatever happens, we are going to get over this by new initiatives, by new energies. And, at that time, I thought only the world had 126 countries in the world. I now learned that there are 127 with your amazing initiative of creating a network of one global family member, of one global family, of which we are all members. Last but not least, you, Alan, you mentioned the Seychelles, and I want to end with that example of Seychelles. We are still in the middle in Israel of the third lockdown. We are getting out of it, but still the airport is closed. So what was the headline yesterday in Israel? Seychelles. Seychelles with the brave initiative of coming out with the announcement, listen guys, we embrace you all. We are one family, and we stop being closed. We open up our hearts and our borders, and here we are. So Israelis are now, as we are talking, borders still closed, you can't go anywhere, but we know we will overcome another week, another two, another three, and we will go to Seychelles. Why we go to Seychelles? Because there are the leaders, the brave leaders who pick that little spot of light and make it into a beacon. So with these words, I would like to thank everyone at this great anniversary. And thanks, Jürgen, thanks you a lot for bringing us together.
No, thank you very much, Dov, and thanks for attending. Also recognizing some of the comments here, Henrique, Zayai, I now attend a number of events, and thank you for joining us in the middle of the night, your time. You're with the Venezuelan Travel Agents Association in Caracas, and I don't even want to figure out what time it is, but it must be like 3 or 4 in the morning, and that's very commendable. Also, we have another gentleman who I think joined almost every event we had, and we give you a chance at the end to raise your hand if you wanted to, both of you. Stephen Brown, he's joining us from New York, and he has joined, I think, we had now close to 100 events this year, almost everything at any time, what is quite amazing. Now, I wanted to go to Deepak. George, Deepak is in Nepal. He's in Kathmandu. He was the former CEO of the Nepal Tourism Board, also on our board at WTN, has been here from the very beginning, got the Hero Award, and it's really an integrated part of World Tourism Network. And thank you for that, Deepak. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Jürgen, and namaste to you all, my dear friends. First of all, I would like to extend a huge congratulations to personalities like Jürgen for your untiring effort and consistency, persons like Talib Rifai, Peter Tarlo, many friends like Ellen, Cuthbert, Job, Vijay, Paul, so many, Rudolph, so many friends are there. So only because when we are together, we are creating impacts, yes. So 5th March, a very remarkable day in today's tourism world. Basically, I would like to say the timing is not so good in global tourism, but this day is really a very happy day for all of us. Uh, if we look at our tourism, this whole year in 2020, we closed our doors and we're observing the situation through our windows. Slowly, every country, they are opening up their doors and then relaxing their kind of situations and lockdowns. And I believe sometimes this COVID-19 is obviously a very, very big hit in our tourism. But before that also, if we look at the situation in past 5, 6, 7, 10 years, tourism was growing very differently, widening very differently. Disruption and innovation are also a new norm in today's socio-economic climate, and more so in the tourism ecosystem too. By harnessing the strength of this notion and having a very comprehensive understanding on an ongoing current context, we can achieve positive transformation and can tackle vulnerable, very uncertain, sometimes very complex, sometimes a very kind of full of ambiguous situation in today's world. I'm very happy to note that in a short span of time, World Travel Network, passing through project.travel to rebuilding.travel, and finally becoming World Travel Network, has become a very credible and strong brand in tourism in this short span of time. Still, we have to play a more critical role in addressing the very pressing issues and agendas, and need to take some more actions to this end, especially in the post-COVID-19 pandemic context. Many destinations and the active players in the tourism industry are desperately looking for impactful insights and meaningful support to revive tourism. Organizations like WTN obviously has a very greater and smarter role to play in coming days. Uh, uh, this platform has become a platform for those who are seeking to leverage their knowledge, their skill, their experience, passion, and network for the larger benefit of tourism. I feel very happy when I see a very passionate persons in this group, the person who are full of passion, and persons who are very, very passionate. They are never retired and they are never tired. That's why this group is certainly going to create more impact. Without much words, I would like to again extend very good wishes from our part of the world. We are together for tourism always. When we are together, we can create more impacts. So to every, I think there are many senior faces, many active faces. Let's be together for larger benefit of tourism. The only better tourism can create better world. So we are always together for tourism, Jürgen. Let's continue our effort. We are together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and namaste, and we talk to you again very soon. I also wanted to recognize, maybe just for a minute or two, a good friend and a major player in the tourism industry in Asia. He's based in Thailand. He's head of the SCOL organization in Bangkok, and he has been contributing also to eTurbo News, among other publications, constantly. Our good friend, Andrew Wood. Welcome, Andrew. You also have to unmute yourself.
There we go. How's that?
Okay, there you go.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Jürgen, for that very warm introduction. And I'd like to say good afternoon to everybody who's participating today. Very warm regards to everyone who I know. I have to say I was particularly impressed with Alan's opening remarks, and also our wonderful friend in Nepal who has very close contacts with us in Skull. I'd like to echo all of those sentiments. May I use my time just very briefly to talk about what Thailand is doing in the last few days, which is generating some kind of excitement. And that is that we have, as an industry, decided to petition the Thai government to set a horizon, a gateway for opening tourism in Thailand again. And the industry is putting together a petition of 100,000 names to reopen Thailand on the 1st of July. Why the 1st of July? Because that gives us a good 5 months, 6 months ahead to get ready and prepare. And as you know, travel and tourism, it's not an instantaneous, just open the door and walk in. We have to set up programs, train staff, prepare products that have been closed, and so on and so forth. So that's why we've given quite a long lead time. But with vaccination, we've always said in the industry that vaccination is going to be the golden arrow, if you want, that's going to pierce the heart of COVID and let world tourism travel again. Well, the vaccinations are starting. Some countries are achieving very quickly close to some kind of herd immunity by local immunization of the local population. We're not there in Thailand. In fact, we're only just starting that process. But as soon as the government has procured all of the vaccines, we now, I think, have over 60 million for a country of 17 million people. As you know, some of the vaccinations include two inoculations. So we are procuring more, and we're going to be starting that process very soon. If you see, and Jürgen published in eTurbo yesterday or the day before, the petition, if you see it, please click onto it. And if you feel that you would like to support Thailand's request to the government to reopen borders with non-quarantine travel for vaccinated people who can prove and show that they are negative of COVID by having tests within so many hours prior to travel, that is what we're aiming for. Jürgen, that's the end of my my list speech, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know if His Excellency Santiago Uno joined us or not.
Yes, I've been joining you, Jürgen.
Okay, there we go. I couldn't find you.
Thank
There
you,
it is.
Thank you, Sean.
It's a pleasure to meet you virtually. And as you know, we have a very long history. I have a very long history with Indonesia. Back when Pak Udin was in charge for the Ministry of Culture and Tourism back in the 2000s, we had the honor of helping represent Indonesia in the United States and Canada. And our publication, eTurbo News, was started in Indonesia with the purpose to promote Indonesia as a tourism agency. And at the same time, we started the International Indonesian Council of Tourism Partners, what then emerged into the International Council of Tourism Partners. Eventually, it merged into all of this what we are today. And we've been talking today about our 1-year anniversary for the World Tourism Network and our global discussion on rebuilding.travel. Obviously, Indonesia is one of the most important countries in tourism, very diversified, huge country. It's really an honor to have you here. And I wanted to thank you for this. And I wanted to thank also Moody Astudi, who I've worked with back in 2000 on Indonesia to have organized this and be part of it. So I think everyone is ready to hear from you, Minister. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. And would like to apologize a little bit to colleagues in this webinar that I'm calling from a moving vehicle, a car, as I am visiting one of the 5 super priority destinations in North Sulawesi, near Manado. It's called Likupa. My name is Sandiaga Salahuddin Uno, and recently I've been asked to join the cabinet as Minister for Tourism and Creative Economy. I'm an entrepreneur by training, and this is really a tough time for Indonesia and the world, in particular, the tourism and creative economy sectors. There are 34 million Indonesians having their livelihood depends on the tourism and creative economy sectors. But we have made it very clear that our first and foremost priority is to ensure that we flatten the curve, we stop the accelerations of the spread of the virus, and
I think we may have lost you here.
early restrictions. I'm sorry, with social restrictions is making progress, and if the number continues to improve, I think we are making preparations to start reopening some of the tourism spots like Bali, like Bintan, and several other areas on a free COVID corridor basis. So we look forward to continue the dialogue. In the meantime, we will work hard to flatten the curve. We have also begun vaccinations. So along with the increased adoptions of a very strict and disciplined health protocol, like wearing masks, which is mandatory across nations, social distancing, and washing hands on a regular basis. We're also ramping up testing, tracing, and treatment. And now with vaccinations, we are targeting that 70% of Indonesians will be vaccinated in the next 12 months. And with that, we hope towards the later part of 2021, the sectors will recover, and we hope we could work together along that line. Thank you very much. Dankeschön, Jürgen, for letting me share my thoughts, and I look forward to having discussions. Dankeschön.
Terima kasih. I have to remember my one word in Bahasa, but thank you very much, and we welcome Indonesia and you to be part of our ongoing discussion. This discussion indeed is becoming more and more timely and important. And as you can see, we have a global team right now in 127 countries discussing, and everyone is in the same boat. And I think we can learn a lot from each other and help each other out. And I appreciate your willingness to be part of our group today. And we also from Indonesia, we have Thomas Levy. He is the CEO of the Bali CVB in Indonesia on there. And I don't know, Minister, you're the busy guy. If you want to take any questions from anyone or any comments, if you do.
Please, please, if you have any questions, I have a few minutes before my next event, and I'm happy to take a few of your questions.
Okay, so let's open the floor. If there are any questions or any comments, I know Andrew, go ahead.
Your Excellency, thank you for joining us today. And thank you for your presentation. As you are starting, you're very welcome. As you are starting your vaccinations and inoculations, and Thailand is yet to do that, have you any advice for Thailand? Any do's or don'ts?
We are still too early in the cycle. We started on the 13th of January, and we just finished the first batch, which is for medical workforce. There are 3 millions of people on the front lines: doctors, nurses, medical personnel, and now we're just started few days ago with the second batch, which focus on basically the senior citizens who are 60 years above, which is more vulnerable, as well as few of the groups that have higher risk of basically COVID-19 risk. So that's 17.8 million. This include other than senior citizens are public servants, the civil servants, as well as military and police. Also, very, very interestingly, people who work in the tourism and creative economy sectors are getting this priority. So out of the 34 million, some is going to be included in the next batch of 17 million. Our procurement of the thank you for the clap, Andrew. Our procurement is only up to June 24%. And then the balance is going to be towards the tail end of this year. So we're still learning. We'd like to share that some of the key is on the distributions. We want those vaccines in the arms of the people, not in the stocks, not in the inventory. So we have been telling provincial governments and municipalities, do not overstock. Just go and focus on distributing it, and that would require vaccine administrator, people who have the ability to conduct the inoculations. Secondly, we are getting early data whereby the best or the most optimal timing would be 28 days after the first shot, because we're using Sinovac, and we're using it between 14 to 28 days to obtain the best result. So yeah, the data is still relatively new. We're still learning, and we'd like to share our experience. And we're not in a position to give advice whatsoever. And
no. Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you. I'm wondering.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Alain St. Ancho, Minister, so you understand. Alain was the Minister of Tourism for the Seychelles for quite some time. He had a question. Go ahead, Alain.
Yes, I think, Minister, listening to you and listening to Andrew of Thailand, I think it is important for us to refer to what the World Health Organization said just 2 days ago. We cannot count anymore on just the vaccines. We have to also keep the measures into place. If we don't do that, we will fail badly. So as we look at injections into arms of people, yes, be vaccinated is the first thing that we should all do. Very true. But this won't give you tourism at the end of the day. We need also to be looking at our key USPs. Indonesia has a lot, because I've visited it often enough. You have a lot of interesting assets that the world still doesn't know. I mean, I swam with your jellyfish that doesn't bite, and I was amazed because we also have them here, but ours sting. But you have so many unique selling points. And how countries will be able to tell that to the world to attract specific groups of people to make the effort to come to you against going somewhere else. This is the key to the success of tourism. If we stay and do what we did 5 years ago or 4 years ago, we will fail badly. And I salute Jorgen, because Jorgen has been giving us all this medium to tell the world of things that we do. When he invents a new podcast and says through YouTube today, he makes his own news wires. This is the way forward. How do we tell the world what we have? I mean, your pink dolphins is a World Heritage Site. But if you do a survey, how many people know about it? You will find that very few know about it. And I think this is where every tourism minister, every tourism professional must today sit and say, what I have, how do I tell the world what I have? And I salute you to be here. It shows that Indonesia is on the move to see a young minister moving forward so fast.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. Well, I know, I mean, I'm here in North Sulawesi, near Manado, and we have designated this as one of the 5 super priority destinations. But, you know, we have, we need to work very hard because like north part of Sulawesi, only known to very few, I guess, a few of the target markets. Don't talk about, we don't really have to talk about the international communities. Even in Indonesia itself, we're struggling to introduce these spots. So that's why I'm working very hard. I attend all the webinars, as many as I can. I tweet it, I use social media. I have about 7.7 million followers in my Instagram. I have a YouTube channel that dedicate towards developing basically knowledge about tourism and creative economy. So yeah, thank you for reminding me. And yeah, I really would count on the network of World Tourism Network to help each other, in particular during this very difficult time.
In one of our discussions, Minister, we had an ongoing discussion led by Dr. Taleb Rifai, who was the former UNWTO Secretary General. He will be joining us a little bit later. Was the issue of domestic and regional tourism. And I think Indonesia, specifically, it's such a huge country, has a great potential of doing exactly that. And I don't know, you know, how this would play into your plans. I don't know if we lost the minister.
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
No. I'm here, but I need to move.
No problem.
So yeah, we're here. We have the GM here of the hotel. They want to say hi to everybody. We have the police, all wearing masks, all doing social distancing. I'm very happy to connect with you all, and hopefully from beautiful Manado, we would like to welcome the World Tourism Network and hope that after the pandemic, you could visit us. Thank you very much and good luck. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, and thank you for attending. All the best. And but Vijay is the head of our aviation interest group, and he has been very busy. We had 2 events also for the aviation group just recently. He's based in Singapore, originally from Mauritius, and some of you may know him. He was with Etihad Airways in Abu Dhabi for several years. Welcome, Vijay. I think you need to unmute yourself. There we go.
Thank you very much, Jürgen, and congratulations to you and everybody on this call for having thought of this idea of bringing people who are interested and committed to travel and tourism together, even before we were in the thrust of that pandemic. The airline community obviously is reeling under COVID, and because it's so intertwined with tourism, both sectors are obviously hurting a lot. COVID-19 has literally clipped the wings of most airlines. And the tragedy, of course, is that airlines are known to, and tourism for that matter, to thrive on bringing people together. And the bringing people close together is exactly what COVID also needs to thrive. Hence, this traction, which is hurting travel and tourism. Airlines lost 118.5 billion US dollars last year and have debts in excess of 651 billion US dollars. With these ongoing onerous commitments with aircraft leases, engine leases, its recurrent costs, it's inevitable that the airlines will continue to suffer for some time to come. More than 40 airlines have already collapsed since COVID-19. And IATA announced only last week that it estimates that the cash burn for 2021 to actually be around 95 billion US dollars. So it's going to be a long, hard challenge, and it's not being helped by the fact that you have another sort of challenge in the background, which is probably going to come more in the forefront as time passes, is the environmental challenge. And again, this is something which both the airline sector and the tourism sector need to spend more time thinking about it, because the world has woken up to a higher level of sensitivity to climate change. And I think whereas aviation was very much on the radar in terms of criticism, there's currently obviously a little window of opportunity, because with the basic collapse of the airline sector, the CO2 emissions from the airline sector has dropped significantly, for some CO2 by more than 60%. So I think that window, to me, must be used to actually try to work hard with all the stakeholders in terms how to make sure that when aviation comes back, slowly but surely, it does not repeat the same mistakes of the past, and that it does improve its environmental footprint in a significant way. There's also a second challenge, which is, I think, to go back to Alain's very important point earlier, that there's no going back to where we were. I think, and that's why it's very important for us to now rethink, reimagine, reinvent the travel and tourism sector to fit the new normal. Because if we try to actually say, well, we just need to get our books off the shelves, dust them off, and then we'll just head back to where we were, that would never happen. If anything, it would only make things worse. We need to use the time now to rethink what is the kind of travel and tourism we want to see in a viable, sustainable way going forward. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Vijay, and thanks for leading our aviation group. Real quick, just I think Adele is in Amman in Jordan. He had a question. Go ahead, Adele. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Jorgen, and for having me among this distinguished group of people, and congratulations on your consistency and bringing us together, which is a great initiative. Just before jumping into my comments, I just wanted to pay a tribute to one of the pillars of tourism, not only in Jordan, but in the world, His Excellency Aqil Biltaji, who passed away before a couple of days from COVID-19. It's really some tough moments for us here in the tourism sector in Jordan. May God bless his soul. I believe that we are still in the middle of this crisis, and it will take us time. As Andrew mentioned, without the appropriate and effective vaccination for populations in order to create this social immunity, I believe that travel will still be not sufficient especially that we need to create the assurance of safety for travelers as such. I personally traveled during these days, and I've seen how challenging it could be, whether it's in the airports or the airline or in hotels or elsewhere. So passing the message, I believe, of safety is extremely important. As His Excellency Alan said, um, uh, uh, creating or looking into the USPs is extremely important. Yet, what is also important is creating these safety measures and the confidence in the travelers that they can travel safely once again. I think that this COVID-19 taught us many lessons. It definitely will change the way people will travel. But again, it could be an opportunity into looking into other experiences where people can hopefully enjoy in the near future. Regards from Jordan, wish you safety as always, and hope to see you soon again. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you very much. And may I propose just maybe a minute of silence for Mr. Akeb Ajiji. He really was, we called him a giant in tourism. And it is very sad. Thank you very much. Let's go real quick, 1 minute, if okay. But I wanted to introduce you to a person who also has been very loyal to this group and has done a lot to bring the educational aspect of travel and tourism forward. I call her Professor Snow White from Serbia. Just maybe a short greeting. I know this wasn't on the schedule. You're on the schedule for our other events, but I wanted to make sure people see you. And I hope we didn't lose you. You were here. Oh, there you go. Okay, go ahead.
Good morning and good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Education is very, very important is in this stage of rebuilding tourism, because as most of you said, it's a new time, it's a new reality, and we have to make the most important step in education for tourism and education in tourism. So very soon we will have a panel about it, and I would like all of you to join with your recommendations, because here in front of us, I mean, among us are the trust of the brains of tourism. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And just I wanted to go, if that's okay, real quick back to Indonesia, to Bali. Then we're going to go to the Seychelles, hear from Shireen. And then we have a little bit more detailed, very interesting presentation from our Malaysia chapter and from Malaysia. But Thomas Levy, he is the CEO of the Bali CBB and in Indonesia. And welcome to our group, Thomas. The floor is yours. I'm trying to find you here.
All right. Actually, my full name is Levi Lantu Jurgen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I had, I guess I got this wrong, but sorry about that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Jurgen, and thank you, Bomodi. I mean, it's good to be here. And I knew this WTN. I've been working with Modi since like over nearly 20 years. We've been working with tourism industry when I've been busy moving around. But now I'm working with the Bali Convention and Exhibition Bureau, actually in Bali. And as our tourism minister just explained that Bali will be the focus when the tourism opened in Indonesia beside Bintan Islands. So for Bali, it is a zero tourist at the moment, very challenged, but also in the same times we have to be very positive and look from different angle that this is the opportunity for tourism to prepare ourselves and get ready to bounce back. And with this COVID pandemic, it's like awakening everybody in Indonesia, especially in tourism industry, and Bali as the face of Indonesian tourism. What we do in the past year, I mean, we're still doing it, is a collaboration. I like this word collaboration, that we all working together. Under Bali Tourism, we have Bali Tourism Board, which is have 20 association under Bali Tourism Board. And we have to work together with airport authority, with government, with the finance minister, with tourism minister, the full support of tourism minister. But then at the end of the day, every destination have to carry to each other and protect each other and look at what potential that we have in our hand. And we have to learn. I always, I believe that what we've been doing in the past, maybe we have to unlearn them. We have to relearn again. There's something new, opportunity, challenge that we have to answer. So, I mean, just quick, if you guys asking what's Bali's going to do? Well, for Bali right now, domestic market is the key market for us. And MICE, we still focus on domestic, but we collaborate with all stakeholders. And I think our tourism minister, he didn't mention earlier that actually what he did is he actually collaborate with all of department and the government, state-owned government companies, to have an event in Bali. I think it's going to be starting next month. So we already prepared all the packages, all of the program from different government department to have an event, meeting, convention, or even conference. It can be hybrid, online, and physical. We're going to do it. But we still have to maintain, we have a program, it's called a Cleanliness, Health, Safety, and Environmental Friendly program that has to be put in a high discipline that is going to be applied in every process, starting from arrival until departure in Bali. And we've been practicing in the past, I think, nearly 5 months. We've been practicing this. And every business or organization in Bali, they have to get a certification to obtain this. It's a license. It's like a license. They have to obtain it. And the other interesting part is now we go back to village. So what we're doing in Bali here, just to share with all of you, that with this pandemic, it's actually gives a lot of time for us to look back of what is tourism all about, why people come to Bali, why they have to come. They tourists, like most of you, we've been in Bali. I believe you attract, with Bali, some people call it a magic islands. It's because people maintain their culture, their lifestyle, and they keep it. And we're going to keep doing it, and we're gonna even go back, and we're gonna make sure that we put that as a priority, which is we call it a tourist village. We're gonna develop our tourist village in our 8 regions areas in Bali, which is approximately about 104 villages. So we can build not only the cleanliness, health and safety program, but also the integration on digitalization. It can be applied for payment, virtual tour, etc. So yep, while we getting ourselves ready, I hope that I can welcome all of you in the future, either event or personally you come to Bali. Let me know, let me Moody know. We look forward to welcome you on the islands of God's Bali. Thank you so much. Back to you, Jürgen.
Thank you very much, Libyan. I cannot wait. I mean, in 2000, 2001, I went to Bali every month. And it was kind of my second home. I stayed at the Kulkul and Faisal's resort, and it was wonderful memories. A lot of work, but also wonderful memories. It's a beautiful place to visit, and I know your convention facilities are absolutely fantastic. And I know with the reopening of the outside, I cannot remember the name of the outside facilities you just did. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. Totally agree with you, Thomas. Actually, I'm physically actually not in Bali, Thomas, because of because of this pandemic. I get stuck in Australia, so I cannot go back to Bali. So you can see how bad I am. that I want to go back to Bali. It's
Well,
nearly a year.
well, we all see the end of the light. We see the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, the vaccine is out, and that's what we have been waiting for. I think the whole world is waiting for. And let's work to this and make it a better tourism world after this. And we're all going to be
Yes.
smiling again and smiling together at one
Yeah.
of your conventions in Bali. And
Yeah,
thank you very
thank you.
much,
Thank
Vivian.
you, Jürgen.
I wanted to go to another place what is, at least for me, it's very close to my heart. And that is the Seychelles. I always say the Seychelles is almost like our island, Oahu here, where I live in Hawaii. We could be sister islands. And I think we should become sister islands. And a very good friend, the head of the tourism board for some years now, Shireen Francis, is joining us, and she has been patiently waiting. And welcome, Shireen. And I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you, Jürgen. Thank you for pulling me in. I always follow what ETN is doing, WTN is doing, and I do follow what you do, even if I don't join that often. And happy birthday. I know you've celebrated 1 year. And so all of us in this COVID pandemic, we've celebrated a year. Seychelles have celebrated a year of having been without tourists for almost a year. We started receiving a few here and there in August, September, up to December, but then January we were back almost at zero again because of developments and the evolution of the pandemic globally. I'd like to acknowledge all the tourism experts and tourism fraternity present also today, of which is my former minister, Alain Saint-Ange, and for all those who know, this is the person I started my career in tourism with. He was my mentor. So if I've got that far in the industry, thanks a lot to him, to his words of wisdom, which I still listen until today. So talking about Seychelles, as you'd probably hear, Jürgen, and a lot of you, because I heard our friend from Israel also mentioning, we were in the news yesterday. Seychelles have made a very, very bold move. We are opening up to the world as of the 25th of March. And a visitor would only require a COVID-19 PCR test negative, no longer than 72 hours, and there'll be no quarantine upon arrival. So visitors will be free to experience the island and move around. But of course, we are maintaining other measures in the destination. For example, the certified establishments, the certified operators, these remains because we are still we still have COVID at the end of the day. But it was like I said, a bold move, but a move that a breath of air that the industry needed. We've been in this journey for a year now. We've learned a lot. We've definitely over a year, we know more than we knew in March last year when the country went into some sort of lockdown. We've done a lot of work with the industry to ensure that they know how to protect themselves, to protect their staff, to have SOPs, procedures in place. A lot of work, effort, training has gone into all of these. And for us as a country to remain under restriction for the rest of the year, because as you probably realize, COVID, it's not going away overnight. So, but as a country which we depend on tourism, and like my former minister said it, we breathe tourism, we live tourism every day. It's our bread and butter. It's not like other countries where they have 2 or 3 other economic sectors they can rely on. For us, it's tourism. The rest contributes significantly less to what tourism has been contributing in the industry. So it was important that we open up to tourism at the end of the day. The vaccine has been a great news, and as you probably also have, if you followed us a little bit, the campaign, the immunization campaign in Seychelles have been going very well. 80% of the population, the targeted population, have taken the first dose, and somewhere around 40% have taken the second dose. But again, like our friends in the tourism world is saying, the vaccine alone is not enough. It's one factor that will help us in the recovery, but we should not be relying solely on the vaccine for the recovery, for the restart of tourism. The measures needs to be there. It works hand in hand at the end of the day, and people still needs to realize that things are not as usual, things are not normal, and we have to live and behave differently. So for us, we reopen with we still have, like I said, the measures, but we realize to restart travel to Seychelles, we needed to be a bit more simple with our measures, a bit more make it easier for a visitor to be able to enter the country, and for airlines to be able to restart on the destination. It needs to be very clear, very simple measures at the end of the day. And it is true, we cannot go back to doing things the way we used to in the bygones in 2019 or even the years before. We've moved into a whole new era, I would say, and the COVID-19 pandemic have really taught us a lot in terms of what we should really be placing importance on, what is really important for us as a destination, and how we should be moving forward. The road to recovery, it would be long and winding. And for me, I've identified 4 S's that we need to focus on for this recovery. The first one is to spot our customer, our persona. We need to know who are these people who would be willing to travel post once you open, where they are, what are they searching for, what's their hobbies, what are their aspirations, what's on their mind, what are the things they are craving for. So it's important for us, it was important that we do network a lot, get as much insight, have access to as much information that we allowed us to know where are the people who are willing to travel, and what really they are thinking in terms of travel as well. So this is where also you make sure that your USP aligns to the needs and wants and the desires of your potential travelers here. You have to stay relevant. And of course, the next thing is structuring your message and knowing what do you put out there, what do you say, and how do you communicate, how much you communicate as well. Situate, position yourself digitally. There are so much opportunities digitally today, and we cannot run after each and every of these opportunity possibly, but it's important to know what works for your destination, and where you should be positioning yourself, where you should be, people should be seeing you more, and how much messages you push out there. But very importantly is keeping your old friends in the industry, your old contacts. There's a saying which says, if you're going to do a marathon, there's one thing you need to have is a good old pair of faithful shoes. If you really want to finish the race, at least, let alone winning, it will have to be a good pair of old faithful shoes. And in that road to recovery, you need to know who are your good old pair of faithful shoes here, who's going to walk with you along the way from the beginning till the end, and it's not going to let you halfway. And it's partnerships, working with them, and that will help you in this journey. And I'm proud to say that the platform Jürgen and all of you here, even if I don't network as much, but Jürgen, I hear from him every now and then. You've been one of this old pair of faithful shoes, I have to say. But we have lots in the industry, and believe me, from my experience in this year, it's been keeping in touch with these people. They are people in the industry. They are your some of your tour operators, some of your media partners that the minute you pick up the phone, you WhatsApp call them, they answer you, you said, I want this news out today. They will give you 5 news if you've asked for one. It's these people that you realize in this pandemic, that at the end of the day, tourism, it's a family. It's a big family, and it's this family. If we are united and we work that journey together, we will all make it at the end of the day. So that's my sharings for today. I'm open for questions.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, you're absolutely right, and this is exactly what I always envisioned for this group. We are really a group of family members here. We're all in the same group. We're not fighting. We're just sharing, and we're friends. And we're becoming better friends as we go along, and hopefully we can together create a better world in tourism. And there was a question.
Jürgen, can I say something? Because
yes,
we need your help. And I think Seychelles and Shirin's announcement. Seychelles is the first country that is getting out of the group, relaunching itself, opening its borders. But you as ETN, WTN, and the world at large, from the African Tourism Board, we need to be able to say there's an official document that says you've been vaccinated. This will have to come sooner or later, and the faster it comes. Europe is deciding what to do today, but I think it's taking too long. It is not new to the world. There is the yellow fever or vaccination plans that we all carry a little booklet with us. So it is done before. We need one for COVID, says exactly what you've taken, the first dose, the second dose, and then we can start traveling again. It is important, otherwise there will be somewhere where we start getting stuck, and then you find fake documents appearing on the scene. I think if we can pressure the world to come out with it, yellow fever is yellow. I don't know which color COVID will be, but find a cover. Maybe it's a very dark cover because it has put it dampened the tourism industry, but it needs to be done. And Jürgen, your help and the help of the minister from Indonesia and everybody else, we need to rally to bring that on board.
No, that's definitely a very good thought, because we're really running into fraud situations. They are reported where people travel with documents. We had 2 people arrested here in our state just recently for coming here with a fake certificate of vaccination, and this needs to stop. I mean, the good news I can tell you, Shireen, from our part of the world, even though I was one of those people that criticized this state for opening up what I thought too fast and too soon, we kept our number under control. Not only that, we lowered our number, and they're almost non-existent. Today, I think we had 30 some cases, and that's basically the average right now for our island, and compared to 300 cases in bad times, and compared this to population, we're very fortunate. So I think with a lot of preparation, like you said, Shireen, and a lot of good thinking, there is a way of starting tourism in an intelligent way and in a safe way. And so thank you very much. And I'm so sorry to have Malaysia waiting, because Malaysia is also an important part of our evening here, and or morning, depending where you are. And we have Datuk Musa, the Deputy Director for Tourism Malaysia, joining us. Before we give Datuk the floor, I wanted to hand my microphone over to the chairman of our charter or interest group for Malaysia, Rudolf Herrmann. He happened to be German. I didn't know him before. It's not like we have him because he's German. I think he's truly Malaysian in a way. And Rudolf, you've done a wonderful job. You've started our LinkedIn group. So whoever hasn't joined our LinkedIn group, you can do this. Just go to our website. I have it linked, or I think Rudolf can also tell you how to get there. And we have a WhatsApp discussion group also. So if you haven't joined LinkedIn, you can always join our WhatsApp group. But Rudolf, welcome, and thanks for putting this together. And I'm sure you can introduce your guest, Datuk, a lot better than I could.
That's very nice. Good afternoon from Malaysia. I hope you're all doing well. And yeah, thank you for all the sharing that we can experience here. That's really good. We can learn a lot from other destinations. And that is the reason why we actually founded the World Tourism Network, which came from the Rebuilding Travel initiative, as you have seen in the invitation to this event. The Rebuilding Travel initiative was about 1 year, exactly 1 year ago, actually in Berlin. I was a member actually on that time, but I could not come because ITB was cancelled and I didn't travel to Berlin. So it was founded by Jürgen and a small amount of tourism players, I must say, but important tourism players. And the initiative has grown into members of 127 countries. And with Jürgen's initiative from all the networks that he is representing and owning, we have a huge reach actually. And everybody is supporting it. I'm really happy about this. Let me share a little bit about Malaysia now and about our chapter. Okay. Here you go. WTN Malaysia was founded in December last year. And it came actually from the idea to link our LinkedIn groups that I have done earlier, which is Rebuilding Travel, with the same thematic from World Tourism Network. And we also have Muslim travelers, which is very important for Malaysia. So we rebranded them into World Tourism Network as well. And this is the launching event. Malaysia Tourism, what is next? We had a panel discussion with tour operators, with academics, with tour guides, and all based actually on the National Tourism Policy for Malaysia, which was just before that introduced by the Honorable Tourism Minister, Datuk Sri Nancy, and our Prime Minister. The way forward for Malaysia means actually sustainable tourism, what we have found out. And I'm very happy to say, I feel this is the best way to go, because earlier the focus in Malaysia was more towards event tourism or groups only. The product augmentation strategies are a lot like ecotourism, youth tourism, cultural tourism, urban tourism, MICE, with hybrid events, coastal tourism, rural tourism. And this is also covered by Rebuilding Travel initiative in many of the sectors. We do have here educational and training, fashion, advocacy, aviation, community tourism, cruise, cultural tourism, peace through tourism, public-private partnerships, safer tourism, tourism guides, and virtual tourism, wedding and honeymoon tourism. We do have this all here. We are joining in with several discussions, which are always in the travel news group. And some of the shares that we have in our LinkedIn groups, just recently, our tourism minister, Datuk Sri Nancy, she announced that she is very happy we have now the inter-district travel opening for the tourism sector. So it is allowed to have tourism in Malaysia, but only within the state. So people from one state, they can come to the hotel, to the zoo, to tourism destination within the state. That is a slow opening. We can see on the right-hand side that the MATA, that is the tour operator, the travel and tour of, association, they are asking for more help. Actually, they're asking for money. They're asking for letting their licenses be extended without certification and things like that. And the Hotel Association MA calls for united system for the tourism industry. But so far, I cannot see the real solution. And I hope our honorable guest, Dr. Musa, can help us after this. So 3 more shares from our LinkedIn groups, which is that the pandemic may allow VR to take off. Saudi Arabia says that vaccine is a must for the next Hajj. And Focus Malaysia says controlled arrivals of foreign tourists can be made possible. I'm fully on this line actually. And I have one of our partners, I found him, he has done a huge research in the Philippines and a big project from the German government for a few years. Maybe he has a chance to talk about this later. There are SOPs in place which we can actually use to have a safe opening of tourism. And this is what I would like to propose, because we need to be proactive, not only ask for money, not only ask to do something from the government. The government has to do, the government has to do everything. I think the government actually wants to open tourism. I'm quite pretty sure actually, and we must help the government to open the tourism, but open in a safe mode. So to open in a safe mode, the SOPs must be in place, and these SOPs must be followed. Now we do have various approaches. I'm a tour operator and hotel general manager by profession. I know from many of my colleagues as well, yes, they do have SOPs which they should follow, but they are not really implementing it full-heartedly, and they are not really doing it the way it should be, I feel. Like when I was a general manager, before COVID, I already put a focus on clean the button of the lift, because I don't want that anybody will get any germ or virus from there. So things like this should be more frequently. So now in Malaysia, we have a system that is a voluntary system for hotels that is valid for 3 years. And that is a physical audit that will come anytime in between, which is not enforced, which is a voluntary thing. I would like to recommend to have a safe mode to open tourism by enforcing SOPs to the tourism players. And then they can open up and can say, we want this, we want that. But they must do their part. Datuk Musa, you are the guy. Datuk Musa is representing our Tourism Malaysia, which is essentially the promotion arm of the Ministry of Tourism and Cultures and Arts in Malaysia. And he is the Deputy Director General in charge for promotion. He is really the guy who can tell us. So I would like to open the microphone to Datuk Musa and tell us more.
Unmute, eh?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rudolph, or we call him Rudy here in Malaysia. Sorry to disclose that to the rest of the members. Again, thank you, Rudolph. Again, ladies and gentlemen, the captain of the industries, excellencies, and dear friends all over the world. I'm very honored today. We can see a lot of friends from all over the world. I feel like I've been somewhere in either WTM London or ITB Berlin that we can see everybody. But actually, we are the same place for the last 1 year. On behalf of Tourism Malaysia, again, I would like to welcome everyone to share the information about Malaysia experience and rebuilding the tourism industry. And I would like also to congratulate WTN on your first year's anniversary today. And basically on our side, when it comes to COVID-19, after the ASEAN Tourism Forum in 2019, it was in, I still remember that, you were there in Brunei, if I'm not mistaken. At that time, COVID-19 was still in China. We already devised a plan to how to go about on this COVID-19. It was coming in from China. And it was 2020, sorry, January 2020. And we didn't know that that it will become a pandemic. And once it's become a pandemic, then the whole things change. Our plan way back when COVID is still in China, basically is to go on domestic tourism, to boost our domestic tourism. And good to know that when the Department of Statistics launched the domestic tourism data way back in June 2020 on 2019 figures, we realized that domestic tourism generated a lot more than international tourism into Malaysia for the first time. Because we are really pushing, for your information, actually, way back in before 1999, we are not pushing so much on domestic tourism. But due to the Asian financial crisis in 1997, we had a two-pronged approach. One, to introduce, as you know, Malaysia Truly Asia in 1999 to the rest of the world, and to introduce Cuti Cuti Malaysia, or holidaying in Malaysia, to the rest of Malaysian. So by attacking these two, international as well as domestic, as of 2019, we can see more than 92 billion ringgit Malaysia, or more than 20 billion US dollar actually being pumped within domestic. And as compared to about 89 billion ringgit we did for the international. Of course, we cannot ignore international tourism. And this is what we are doing now with COVID-19. We are emphasizing a lot more on to boost the domestic tourism. However, actually today is historical day as well for us, because our second movement control order lifted today. It was 3 months way back in 2020, March to June 2020. We cannot move anywhere, Rudy. We cannot move anywhere for the 3 months. And then it was reintroduced again on 13th of January because of the spikes in terms of COVID, where the figures used to be less than only three digits, and then it went to 4 digits and four digits. And so the government introduced the MCO, what we call it, movement control orders, way back in 13th of January, and only today. Today is 5th of March, being lifted, but there's some what we call it conditional movement control order, as well as recovery movement control order. Basically, in a nutshell, we can move around. We can have, especially my sector, we can have a meeting in the hotel rooms. We can make use of these facilities. Again, like what my colleague Rudy was saying just now, the safe mode. The SOPs being really tightened. For your information, Malaysia only previously, when we introduced MCO, compoundable, for the penalty for individuals, only 1,000 ringgit. It is about $200 US maximum. If you're doing now, as of this month, it's gonna be 10,000 ringgit for individuals, or minimum $2,000 US. If you more than 2,000 US dollar, or 50,000 ringgit, close to 10,000 US dollar for companies that not getting these SOPs in place, especially eateries, restaurant, and the rest. So the government now opening up, giving the especially Malaysian to travel within Malaysia, but you cannot cross state border as of now. You can travel within your state, because there are several or 5, 6, 7 districts within the state that you can travel within. If you need to cross to other state, you need some permission from the police, and usually been given. But for essential industry, you're allowed to do so. For example, economic things, these are the things. But we are working hard to convince the government, especially the National Security Council, to allow us to for the interstate border. I think the Malaysian Association of Hotel Owners, Malaysian of Hotels, and even the tour companies and everything is looking into that we can lift this up. And what we are doing now actually is to make sure fellow Malaysians abide by the rules. And as of today, also I can announce to everybody here that more than 80, the first round of vaccination being done. It is continuing. We are looking at about 120,000 being vaccinated per day at 600 stations throughout Malaysia. And as of now, more than 80,000 being done. And hopefully all these vaccination can be settled by month of June. Therefore, at least we are in a safe mode, and we are even feel safer if we travel all over within Malaysia. Unfortunately, our international border still being closed. However, the government recently already been in talking to our neighboring countries. We are going to start off hopefully with Singapore, and there's also a discussion with Indonesia already on this, and our neighbors up north, Thailand and Brunei. So hopefully with all this, we can get it done. And again, all these safe mode SOPs will be in place. Our infection rate at the R0, as per conveyed as of I think yesterday, is of 0.87. So we need to maintain that below 1 in order for us to feel safer to move around. And again, hopefully by today, we can see some movement within Malaysia as well. And on top of domestic tourism, we are also looking into to strengthen our partnership with the private sector and to plan a collaboration and reinventing product. Just now, I think Rudy did show some of this product that we are looking at, because we can see there's no more groups traveling coming into any part of the world. It's going to be less. More FITs, and these are the things that we need to look into. We have more than 11,000 tour coaches lying idle for past 1 year. We got more than 11,000 tourist guide not doing their guiding. And tourism employ 3.6% out of 15 million workforce in Malaysia. It's about quite a big number, and every 4 person in Malaysia in tourism, as compared to the international every 10. We are every 4 in tourism, and these are the things that we need to really look into it. And tourism industry in Malaysia, I think the rest goes to the rest of the world, that we are the first impacted by COVID-19. We are going to be the last to recover. And by doing so, what we are doing now is we need to build up the confidence to travel to the rest of fellow Malaysians within Malaysia, as well as from international into Malaysia. That's why I think Rudy did mention as well, whereby the hotel come up with the clean and safe campaign, whereby it's like Singapore, our colleague in Singapore, the SG, the green, whereby the hotel having the infection. We have no transmission generated from hotels, none. As you can see, the spike coming in Malaysia, because what the government did, they moved into all areas, especially factories and construction areas, and start to swab every single workers. And this is why you can see the spike coming in. And now we have done thousands and millions of those, so we managed to reduce it down. So these are the things that we've been doing. For example, one factory in Selangor, one of the state, that factory alone, 4,000 people infected with COVID-19. And we managed to stop the whole thing from moving. And now with vaccination, perhaps if we can get the herd communities with that, then I think we can be okay. We can start looking into opening up. And we need to really open up the border. Again, I would agree to that, because aviation industry really need to come in. Currently, Malaysia Airlines, Malindos and the rest also impacted, but they managed to fly in and out. We are still working with Qatar, Emirates, they're coming in and out. But in a way, fortunately, because Malaysia, one of the biggest producer of rubber glove in Malaysia, airlines coming in to bring out cargoes instead of human being out of the airline. That's why we work closely in order to tell the rest of the world about Malaysia, the confidence into travel. But we put on hold a lot of our advertising efforts internationally because this is a blackout time. We can't do much because people cannot travel. What we are doing is basically to communicate strategically, communicating with the rest of the world, telling that Malaysia is safe. We are putting this is our COVID number. We'll be transparent about it. We mentioned which are the centers, for quarantine hotel and the rest. And for that matters, we even going to vaccinate even foreigners that staying in Malaysia, those expatriates within Malaysia, and even workers in Malaysia, because we do not want only Malaysian, but the rest remain, and then the whole transmission will be there. We'll make sure everyone will go into that. And we're also enhancing our tourism promotion. The tourism board, we're still having our 33 stations abroad, and they're still moving and kicking. What they're doing basically is to enhance our efforts online in the respective area. For example, our office in Netherlands, in Frankfurt, in Europe, as well as in America and North and East Asia, still having communication, B2B presentation with the private sector of Malaysia and with the state government, that we tell them the new product that we have, what are we doing, and so forth. And I think on top of when we come to advertising, instead of normal traditional advertising on TV commercial, that kind of thing, we are moving into social media. And fortunately as well, we got several actually Insta famous or the influencers got stuck here in Malaysia during COVID. So some of those become our spokesperson in terms of food, in terms of arts and cultures in Malaysia. So I think these are the plans that we have done. And hopefully with this bubble that we are going to look into later on, perhaps with China, part of China, Indonesia, Singapore, and our neighboring Bali and Thailand, we can slowly opening up. And again, I think as what Alain was saying just now, we need to have this so-called vaccination passport. Among the ASEAN ministers during the last 2 weeks meeting, we were already talking about vaccination passport. That therefore, at least within ASEAN, we can start moving into this. We don't have any problem in terms of that. And hopefully, I think we realize airlines and even airport in Malaysia even ready to open up. And we're also telling the industry to look into the touchless mode. Now people do not want to holding a menu. They would like to go all these with QR code, with everything, contactless passport and everything. Our colleague in Singapore already been doing it, and these are the things that we need to do. And hopefully with that, we will manage to move and forward. And of course, the government also put up a fund more than close to 100 billion to support the industry, not only tourism but the rest across. For example, the wage subsidies, that kind of thing. Even moratorium in terms of loan to your excursion bus or tour coaches, just to make sure that everybody can survive. And hopefully by today, when we see that basically the MCO being lifted and we can adhere to SOP, then everything can be, at least we can start with domestic, and whatever thing good in domestic we can emulate for the rest of the world. So I think that's what I want to present. Maybe Rudy, you want to add a bit more on that? Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for your input. It was very interesting. Specifically your message that no one got affected in hotels. And I think this is such an important message you said, not only for Malaysia, and because it's true in almost every part of the world. The industry professionals like hotels, like airlines, are really for the most part operating in a very safe way. And this needs to be pointed out, I think, more and more and more, so people understand where the danger of the virus is. It's most likely not in the hotels. It's not really in the airlines. Thank you so much for your feedback. And I know we're over time, but this is an extremely interesting session. I'm so happy so many of you have so much to contribute. I wanted to just give a chance, if there's an important question for Datuk, to please raise your hand now before we go to the happy part of our session. Well, no further question. I think you said it all.
They're very clear.
But we're looking forward to maybe having an event in the future. I would have said just about Malaysia. We had one before, maybe doing another one on your region. It's an important region. The same what we offered to the Honorable Minister from Indonesia. And the ASEAN region altogether operates really as one destination. And now I think the chances are becoming even better and better to do things together instead of separately.
Maybe Jürgen, maybe I can
Sure.
add one more point in my presentation. Yeah, but I think this is just for our discussion. I think this is a time for everyone to go into technology. You know, I think before COVID-19, for example, like us, we have all these Team, Zoom, and everything. But we, frankly speaking, we hardly use it because everything, you know, we can call, we can meet up, physical. Even when it comes to fair and exhibition, it's always physical fair, physical roadshow, physical seminar, physical presentation. But with COVID, now we have this kind of program that we can have. And even now, I can see a lot more webinars. You know, for myself, we get about 5 minimum webinars per day. So these are the things that I think that we have to get into data, as well as the platform where everybody can start selling their product online, tourism packages, things like that, especially domestic. I think these are the things that, you know, especially within ASEAN and the rest of the world need to look into. Thank you.
Yeah, it is definitely a time saver, and you can get more done in a shorter time period. These Zoom meetings, I think all of us, and I have to admit I'm one of them, a year ago, I didn't even know what Zoom was exactly. So now everyone in the world is talking on Zoom, and it becomes the new norm. It's never going to replace meetings. The meeting and the personal meeting is something what simply cannot be replaced. But a fast conversation, getting the world together in within half an hour notice, Zoom can do that. And that is needed really to proceed with a real business. So definitely you have a very important point there, Datu. And I wanted to just give Dr. Paul Rogers, and I call him the happy man, because he runs a company in Australia by the name of Planet Happiness. And he has been also a good supporter of World Tourism Network, and we're planning an event with Dr. Rogers a little bit later this month, and he will tell you more about it. Paul, the floor is yours.
That's great, Jürgen. Thanks very much. Hello, everybody. It's wonderful to be with you. I recognize a number of friends, Deepak and Levi, that I've spoken with before on different occasions. Jürgen, I wonder if I could ask, in a moment, I just want to share one slide on the screen, if I may, if it's possible. Sure. To have permission to do that. Great, thank you very much. So as Jürgen, let me say, listening to the conversation with you all today, at the start, Cuthbert was mentioning about the tremendous contribution of tourism to GDP. And of course, we all know what an engine of growth and change the tourism sector is. We also heard Alain talk about the need for a new dimension in tourism. And in recognizing the need for that new dimension in tourism, I think we need to be honest and recognize that GDP is now a broken system. It's not just, well, it is, GDP is an ineffective measure of development, and it is partly responsible for the environmental crisis that is growing and falling upon us, not just our industry, but the planet that we live on. And I see, for example, that Dr. Birgit, in her comments earlier on, She's been talking about regenerative tourism. And I'm sure many of you know Anna Pollock, who is a thought leader and a change maker of the tourism industry, and somebody who suggests that we need to move from an extractive economy that we've been working on for the last 100 or 200 years, and we now, to save the planet, need to move towards regenerative systems to restore this planet that we cherish and love and celebrate through this amazing industry we call travel and tourism. Now, to do that, tourism needs to be part of the change that's coming, and it is. It's an experience industry, an experiential economy, and this is what we need to be encouraging through the transition and change. And why I'm passionate about this is I've been working as a destination planner for the last 20 years. And 10 years ago, I had the privilege to be working for UNWTO on an assignment in Bhutan to support their next 5-year tourism plan. And 10 years ago, the UN, or Bhutan with the UN, was working on a resolution recognizing the legitimacy of happiness as a new development paradigm. And when we use the word happiness, a lot of us are unfamiliar with it, and we just think of it as an emotional state. I'm happy now, but tomorrow morning when I wake up with a hangover, I'm not going to be quite so happy. But happiness is not about a temporary emotional state. It is about using the terms happiness, well-being, and quality of life interchangeably. And 10 years ago, when the UN resolution on happiness was passed, member states of the UN committed themselves to identifying how this development approach is recognized and used in their countries to move beyond GDP as a measure of change and development. And the 20th of March each year, with a second resolution that was passed a UN resolution that was passed in 2012, declared the 20th of March to be the International Day of Happiness. So I'm pleased to say that with the support of Jürgen and this wonderful network and the International Institute of Peace Through Tourism and Planet Happiness, we are going to convene the first inaugural event celebrating tourism and happiness for a better future. And we have a list of about 15 to 20 speakers. We're still finalizing the agenda. We have high interest and participation ready from the World Economic Forum, from Gloria with the World Travel and Tourism Council, from Talib, who is a big supporter of this agenda and was Secretary General to send me to a high-level meeting on happiness and well-being at the UN in New York in April 2012. We have the Transformational Travel Council on board, and many others besides. And we have, the purpose of this meeting really is to explain to tourism stakeholders, to everybody in this network, what is the well-being agenda about? How is it relevant to tourism? And what tools, resources, and approaches can we use to develop and strengthen this happiness and tourism relationship, this quality of life relationship? And we believe this agenda is about focusing on destinations in the first instance to put host communities front and center and celebrate the people that make this industry the incredible vehicle for change that we all know it is. Every country has its own USPs, its environmental products, you know, the biodiversity, the nature, the jellyfish that we've been talking about, and the tremendous culture that it has. But it's the people that facilitate those experiences. And so we need to be building this industry back better, I believe, to focus on people and well-being and this movement to a new development paradigm. So the 5 objectives of our meeting on the 20th of March will be to raise awareness of the origins and global significance of this happiness and well-being agenda. which happiness, well-being, quality of life, it can be defined, it can be measured. So we want to highlight linkages between these measurements and sustainability in tourism destination planning and the UN 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. And we want to work together to inspire tourism stakeholders to find ways to engage with this happiness and well-being agenda for destination branding, marketing, and advantage purposes. And we want to share tools, resources, and approaches illustrating how happiness can deliver an advantage, a destination advantage to destinations and support the delivery of the UN 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. And we want to use storytelling and digital innovation as approaches to help bring this change about. So that's a few words. I hope this is of interest. We will be sharing a one-pager with the focus and purpose of this event, and we hope it will feature in the media in the run-up to the event that we're going to host together with you. And we would like you all to join the conversation and be part of this event to celebrate this relationship. Thanks very much, Jürgen.
No, thank you very much. And we, of course, will help to promote it and let everyone know how to sign up. It'll be on our website at WTN.travel and World Tourism Events this weekend, so you can already register. In 9 hours from now, we have our second event, what is meant for Europe and also the North America, South America audience. And you can join us. Just go to WTN.travel, click on the red banner, and you will be able to register for another very exciting event tonight. We have the Honorable Minister from Eswatini visit with us, and we have Dr. Taleb Rifai. Shireen agreed to attend, what we're looking forward to, and there will be a lot more. We have Louis Damour from the International Institute for Peace Through Tourism. We have the World Travel and Tourism Council, Andrew Brown joining us, giving us an update. Dr. Peter Tarlow will be giving an update on safety and security. Cuthbert from South Africa is there again, also Alexander and Professor Snow White. But we also have Professor Jeffrey Lipman joining us, talking about sustainable tourism, climate change. We have Ivan Leptuga from the Ukrainian National Tourism Organization and Marika Donato, Special Ambassador for the Federation, International Federation, I believe, or World Federation of Tour Guides, joining us, as well as Max Habertor from Germany, and Bijan Kasai from the Hotel Resilient Initiative in Germany. So I know it is amazing that we still have so many people watching us, both here live and also live on our various platforms. I can look at the numbers so far. We had 23,820 tuning in so far in the live event. And when we're done tomorrow, it'll all be archived and then replayed all weekend. So we're going to get a lot more people being able to take advantage, and also you can watch us again. Of course, it'll be an archive on livestream.travel for the time to come. Wanted to see if there's any last minute comments or questions. Did I leave anyone out? I know I don't want to overlook anything. If there is, please raise your hand and we can give you the microphone for a minute. Otherwise, we're going to be at the end of the event now, getting ready for the next one in 9 hours. I don't see any hands, so I can only say from our part of the world, aloha, and hope you're all staying safe. Join us again soon. And if you haven't joined the World Tourism Network yet, for everyone watching us, also not directly on this platform or later on when you see this archive, it's important that you join us as a member, or at least as a complimentary observer. Go to WTN.travel, and we would like to welcome you as part of our family. And this family is growing fast, and we're now really just getting started. Thank you, everybody, again, and we hope to see you in 9 hours. or anytime. Bye-bye.